Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, Instagram world and other social media platforms. I hope you're well. It is Thursday, the 26th of March, and this is Radio Apocalypse. Hi, are you guys surviving? How are yous? I hope you're well. Truly, I do actually hope you're well. I always start my streams with a little thank you to all those people that are going out of their way to do miraculous things in this crazy, crazy time. And I'm actually going to read something off my Facebook page, which I found from a friend of mine called Jeff. Jeff, if you're watching this, wow, man, these are amazing words. Whether you wrote them or copied them makes no difference. You posted it and it was through you that I got them. It goes like this. It's a big eye-opener, all of this, isn't it? We are finally realizing that money has no value. Your amazing job is no longer an amazing job. Your expensive clothes now have no worth. And no one gives a hoot about how you look anymore. Your big house is just 4 empty walls, just like everybody else's. Your nice car is running on 4 tires, the same as everyone else's. We are finally seeing who the important people are, the ones who make a difference to our lives and doing the crucial jobs we need. Shop workers, care workers, NHS staff, emergency services, farmers, teachers, lorry drivers and delivery people, cleaners, refuse workers, dock workers, just to name a few. Key workers are the ones who keep our country ticking over, the core of our daily lives, the people who regularly go unnoticed and are often frowned upon, but keep working hard, generally on a low income. People constantly look down on them and people constantly look down on them and gloat that they earn more money than them. But what worth does your money have now? How secure is your job in the real world when we take a step back to reality? I'm proud of these people. They don't earn enough for what they do, and they're never appreciated for what they contribute to society. Be kind to them, thank them, go out of your way and tell them what an amazing job they are doing. Could you imagine how shit this would be without them? Be thankful we can all be happy, and buy them a drink if we come out of this on the other side. Copy and paste if you agree. Well, I've just streamed it out to the world, and I will copy and paste that as well. It's words are no truer than that right now. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy world, and let's just face it. Is it going to get better? I don't know. Is it going to get worse? I don't know. Anyway, we're here tonight. We are live, going out over YouTube and Facebook. So hello to anybody that watches this now live. I can see that we have one person in the Facebook channel. Come and say hello so I know who you are, please. And hopefully we'll have other people coming in. And well, obviously we'll have people that play this back in the morning because I do go out quite late. If you didn't know this, I am officially on a lockdown, a personal lockdown for myself. I have 1 second. Let me get my letter. I have a letter from my doctor. Basically, here it is. Okay. Saying that he would prefer me not to be in a red zone working on the front line as one of those workers that we just mentioned just now. It would be, hi Shady, how are you? It would be too dangerous for me to be there. My lymphocyte count is below what is normally average for the human beings, for us human beings. So my immune system is actually compromised. It's a bit crazy, to say the least. So I'm quite happy to be stuck in my house. I've got a nice little house. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a beautiful son and 3 other amazing children that will be coming back next week as well. I have social media. I have you guys to speak to on an evening basis. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to be starting Radio Apocalypse Morning Coffee. And that should be on maybe about 9 o'clock in the morning. Maybe a wee bit earlier, but you'll be able to watch it back as a stream anyway if you miss it. And that's not going to be as dark and sort of like, oh my God, what's going on in the world as this stream. It's going to be a bit more lighthearted. And I'm actually going to use it as a platform to have a cup of coffee, a chat with you guys, and read you some of the poems that I actually write. So that's tomorrow morning. But we do have a format now, which is great. I can actually go into my various different ways of doing things. And we have an actual proper format. So we're going to start off tonight with what I call the COVID-19 Chronicles. Okay, right. So we are going to tell stories at this particular point in it all. We will talk about what is going on in the world, okay, and basically look at the whole big picture of it all. I have some photographs which I'll put up, like this particular one here. It's just a discussion point, really, more than anything else. This is an illustration of how you could be walking around and not knowing that you actually have the virus in amongst the crowds and things, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you could just walk around. It could be anybody. So this is why social distancing is absolutely vital. And we're going to talk a bit more about social distancing afterwards. We have a guest as well tonight. He's just come into the studio. It's my good friend from away in the West Coast. It's Cognac. And I will bring him in a little while as well, just to say hello to you guys. Hi, Equilibrium. How are you? I know I can use your real name and things, but I like to keep it kind of internet personality names when we're on here, and I'll stick to your real name when when you're on the stream or anything like that. Right. Okay. So yeah, Cognac's waiting in the wings. I'm going to bring him in, see if he's there, just to say hello. Mr. Cognac.
Hello. Hello.
Hold on. Are we okay? I need to take off one thing. Hold on a second. There we go. We need to take off that picture. I need to get down to where the picture is, so I can see your handsome face, good sir. 1 second. There it is. And no, that's not the picture. I went right past it. There's the picture. Good. Hey, how are you?
You know what? After having fun doing some nightly studies I needed to find a way to get the, this is, I'm getting used to this, by the way. I liked your headset. I needed a way to get over my anxiety, because I am used to knowing the least and worrying the least, and I needed to learn how to actually worry and not have anxiety, which was hard at first. So I did my own studies off of the studies they have currently, as much as I could, as from no matter what scientist, what part of the world, what data they have. And I came up with my own theory, and I'm just going to stick by it and just be happy with it until everything blows over. So
that's quite cool. Well, we'll come back to you, because I would be very interested in hearing what you've got to say about that, because I read some of the stuff that you sent me on Instagram. Is that the stuff that you've been studying? Yeah, it's quite interesting to think that there's a bit of science there, which we're like over the top of my head. I'm rubbish at science. Listen, I'm not your average guy when it comes to things, okay? The guys are really into cars or their sports and things, and I sit there with a dull look on my face going, that's really boring. But I could cook you the perfect souffle. I'm a chef by trade, okay, but I don't care about the oil in your car or who's kicking a ball around a pitch or the best quarterback in whatever team you support. Couldn't give two hoots. But I
All right.
know what the best eggs are for a souffle. But we'll come back to that another time. What I want to talk
Oh,
about
and
just now is just a serious thing. It's actually something that my mum brought up yesterday. Let me just quickly get the photographs up of it. Yesterday we were talking about children being taken away in ambulances on their own and you not being there or anybody not being there to look after their own kids. Now in Italy, we have terrible things going on. Like, let me just see if we can find this picture. Is that on the right spot? 1 second. Now I've
by
uploaded it to the background, so I'm going to have to stop the camera, but continue speaking.
by chance, are they suffering any heart-related cardiovascular issues?
Who the people in Italy?
The kids, the younger ones that are catching stuff. Are they having any
I
heart
don't.
cardiovascular
mm,
issues?
I don't know. My whole point was it was more along the lines of how kids would be stuck on their own and there wouldn't be anybody, you wouldn't have your mum or your dad there to help look after you or
See,
anything
that's
like that.
gnarly.
So
But they
you
have to
kind of
do that kind
scary.
of care, right?
Yeah, it's
In the
crazy.
end.
Look at this picture. This picture is basically people in hazmat suits in Italy. This is how they're having to handle people with the virus and transport them around. Okay, this is kind of frightening. Totally, truly frightening. Can you imagine being in a position where you are working with this and dealing with this on a daily basis? That is kind of frightening. It puts a little bit into perspective, but as we go through the pictures, there'll be more sort of perspective with it. But when I'm looking at that, okay, I see clearly that there's a bubble around the bed of the person, and that we've got the guys in hazmat suits. Now, on a different note, there's a friend of mine who actually is a paramedic down in London or the London area, and I was speaking to him today, and he's right on the front line dealing with this, and they do have reasonable, protection over here, but not as good as that. He was saying, which is a bit of a shame. To be perfectly honest, it's a bit of a disgrace. To be perfectly honest, as well. Why on earth do we not have the right kit for our frontline people? I know the government is trying to get the kit in as quickly as possible and stuff, but it's a disgrace that we've not got it in the first place. To be perfectly fair and honest,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary to think that there's people
This is
working like that. You know?
this shows that the whole world is equally unprepared for a
Yeah,
major
yeah.
catastrophe or an epidemic. But this will prepare us and know what we were missing for next time.
Hopefully there won't be a next time. There will
Well,
be
I mean,
maybe in our
how they
lifetime.
just not this virus, but the cold is just like a common little thing over time, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Eventually,
yeah,
it'll all just yeah, it'll wear itself
yeah.
all out.
The other thing about Italy, in a news report that I previously watched, I think it was on Saturday, was the whole thing about people dying alone with their families not being able to pick up the bodies properly or say goodbye to them because the bodies were contagious. This is what my mum and I were discussing today. She said, "Oh, it'll break my heart if any of the kids ever got this. But, is it okay for me to die alone?" And I was like, no, it's certainly not. I mean, you're not going to die from this, Mum, anyway. You're going to stay in your goddamn house and just stay there and not come out. Okay. I will post pizza through the letterbox if you run out of food. Okay, that's where I am with it. Okay, but if you think about this, right, it doesn't bear thinking about having a family member contract this at the best of times. But if the worst case scenario ever came, wow, and not being able to say goodbye to them. You're trying to speak to them through glass or in an isolation ward which you don't even have access to. That is kind of frightening. And these are the COVID-19 chronicles that are going and playing out worldwide. One last little bit on the chronicles before I want to hear your science stuff, Cognag, is that let's have a quick look here. We want to put that bit on and get rid of that bit. Here we are. Brilliant. Okay, so I was looking for statistics today to look about the morbidity of what's happening with people contracting this and for people dying with it. Now, here, March 26th, Thursday today at 13:03, all right? Coronavirus UK deaths rise by 43 to 465. Okay, so that's 43 more people dead in the last 24 hours. But then I noticed further up, okay, COVID-19 UK deaths reached 578. Let's have a look. 465, 578. Okay, and that was 4 hours ago compared to this afternoon at 1 o'clock. Okay, so many more people have passed as a result of this disease just in the afternoon.
Yeah,
That scares the crap out of me
I
in
think
ways that are it's just awful. So I'm isolating. I'm planning on not going out whatsoever. We've got a decontamination station at the front of my house now for anybody that comes in, like my mum if she's visiting. If my wife comes back from work, she takes her shoes off. It goes into a special bucket. She takes her clothes off. It goes into another bucket and she goes straight into the shower. Okay, and then she comes out and puts indoor clothes on. We're taking no chances here. With my immune system being totally deficient the way that it is, we don't want to get that bug into the house whatsoever.
yeah.
So that's it. So, Cognag, in layman's terms, the scientific stuff you were looking at today, can you explain it to me, please? What was going on?
Yes. Okay. So, in one research lab, they had tested to see what the coronavirus does in the presence of bacteria. Now, they say most viruses don't actually attack bacteria because most bacteria might harm us, and the virus actually does want the host body to stay alive. So normally it wouldn't actually use the bacteria to catalyst. However, it does jump on the back of it and could basically hitch a ride like a freaking, it could basically hitch a ride. And by the time it gets to its destination with that bacteria, it has turned it into a micro processing machine that just makes little versions of that virus. But it
Wow,
still is the bacteria just kind of like reverted into a virus. So
that's crazy.
that's one version of it technically, because so we now have 50 cases of Kawasaki disease also in San Diego on top of the coronavirus happening. It only attacks mostly children. Um, the way it got here or gets here is from aerosol pollution in the air that actually can make it overseas with high winds for us 2 days. And that actually beats
Wow.
the statistic of when it is traveling. If the coronavirus is in like water molecules in the air kind of thing, if it gets aerosoled
Mhm,
that way, it can
mhm,
piggyback onto those really light particles that cause the other disease. And basically, by the time it gets here, that would explain why we have both cases now. However, they say that a virus also takes on the characteristics of the host, its weaknesses and its strengths, which means at the moment that that bacteria also has the virus, that virus is just as weak to heat as the bacteria is itself.
mhm,
Um, so in my head, the Scoville measure was 30,000 plus Scovilles will actually kill 75% of bacteria in your body and inhibit the other 25% from actually like growing for a second. So I'm just eating spicy around the clock. I'm gonna keep myself literally just like I'm gonna keep my system so hot all the time that by the time I even breathe in a little spore that contains it, it'll just be like. But all in all, once again, this is my theory of their work, and I'm gonna stick with it because it all does correlate in my head.
I think
The
that you're a naturally hot person anyway, Cognag, and the ladies love you because you're so hot. All right, you're a good man. That's really interesting, though, to think that the bacteria is like a taxi cab and turns into a little factory for the virus. I never knew anything like that. I'm going to go and have a wee read about things like that. It's definitely worth looking at. I mean, we don't know. We don't know
we don't
100% what's going
we
to
don't.
kill this thing. You know,
But
somebody was saying on you go.
anything we can come up for ourselves. In the meantime, while they're doing their stuff, at least we might as well try as many natural things
Yeah.
as we can, as healthy eating as we can, and
Mhm.
as hot as we can.
Absolutely. My problem is that my taste buds were totally destroyed with the chemo and the radiotherapy last year. They said I would be lucky if my taste buds ever came back. Now I had a trained palate as a chef before. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't expect my taste to come back, but it did, supercharged. Okay, about 3 weeks after my treatment finished, I was so lucky, but I put it down to my taste buds being like well trained from being a chef before, and when it came back, I discovered my absolute love of spicy food had vanished because it became painful to eat, which is such a shame because I loved the spicy food as well, man. It was something
So there is a backup plan to that,
go on.
because sometimes I like to escape. At the age I'm getting now, I've found out I can get heartburn and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If I can't do the spicy, if it's too spicy, or if you're someone that can't, my mom can't have spicy at all. But we found out if it's spicy that's ingested, where the effects of the heat don't
Mhm.
take effect until after it's ingested and just makes you
Mhm.
sweat from the inside out.
Yeah,
That's stuff
yeah.
like wasabi, those kind of horseradish, those kind of things.
Yeah,
So
for
if
sure.
you just take a little bit of like the oil of the chili,
Mhm.
mix it in with something that's not spicy to the mouth palate, but
Mhm.
in the inside, you could totally get it in there.
That's a great idea. We have a Russian mustard that my wife makes that is you smell it and you can smell the heat, but it's like just a strong mustard that makes you have the sweat feeling. But you give it a
Now,
and it
those are the
goes
kind of
as
spices
well.
that are like,
Great. Yeah. It's good. It's good. Right, I'm going to have a quick look at the comments just now because Equilibrium's been saying things in Ireland, not including Northern Ireland. There are a further 255 cases, bringing the total number of cases to 1,819, with 10 deaths. 3 more cases in Donegal, excluding people who haven't been tested. You know, there's
you don't have
fewer.
to read our numbers. You don't have to
Pardon?
read you don't have to read the US numbers, but um, in my head, just so I can ask you, because I can't do it while I'm on here.
Hmm.
Did we climb into number one? Are we in
Yeah.
the number one spot now?
I know I
It's gonna
saw
be
that in the
hard
news
for us to get
tonight, and
there.
I immediately thought of you, brother. I was thinking, you better stay safe. If you come
Just
on here with flu-like symptoms, I will send you straight to your bed, brother. I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all.
I was kind of worried about the whole situation. So it only took us that 2 hour gap to 4 hour gap you guys had was the
Mhm.
same for us, but the ratios are just different because of the population amount and stuff like that. So that all takes a factor. But other
Mhm.
than that, I'm actually trying to smile, but my eyes I can actually see are actually scared now. Like
Yeah,
there's
it's
actually a
quite
little bit of
scary.
fear.
But the scary part of the show is kind of over because
Yeah.
I don't want to harbor us all into a position where we're all feeling pretty crappy for watching stuff. So, um, last night I started to break up everything into segments. So every day we will do a COVID-19 Chronicles about what's going on around the world. Then we're going to move into things that could make us a bit angry, which is our next segment, which I will set up just now. Okay, this is Covidiot of the day. All right, so what is a Covidiot? This is somebody who just doesn't give a shit. Okay, they couldn't give two hoots about their fellow man, whether it be from panic buying or not doing social distancing. Okay, so we all know people like this. We all know people that basically, they're buying ridiculous amounts of toilet paper. Okay, and they basically clear out the shelves in the shops. Okay, we know these people. We know that they're doing wrong. So when we think about this, like I experience the base instincts of human beings in the store that I work in, trying, they're coming in and they're buying up everything. We had to get third party security to
We're
come into the
bloods.
store, man the toilet roll aisles, to man the pasta aisles. These people are ridiculous. There's just no need for them in the world. As far as I'm concerned, their genetics should actually exclude them from survival of the fittest. They are not going to survive the fittest because their stuff will run out. They are not taking it seriously because they go into a shop, panic buy with hundreds of other people in that shop. And thank God in the UK, what we have actually done now is all the four big stores, which is Asda, Morrison's, Tesco's, and Sainsbury's, have put a limit on how many people go in and out of the store. Now, my wife went round to the store that I worked in today just to pick up a couple of things, and there was a queue the length of the car park, and everybody was standing 2 meters apart. The message is getting through. It's great that it is. But just the day before, that wasn't happening. It's taken the parents of the world, like the organizations, the companies, and the government, the people that, are the nanny state, to turn around and manage it properly. That is a good thing. Okay, so this is a big shout out to all the shop owners, all the big companies that are actually doing something right for once. Okay, this is what we want. This is necessary, not just to protect you guys, but also to protect their workers, these people that are working for you, to make sure that you always have the food that you actually need. Okay, it's absolutely vital that we continue with this and support them every single day. If you see a garbage truck guy, okay, and it's from a distance, shout well done, shout thank you. When do they ever get a thank you? Do you ever thank a
That's so
garbage
true.
truck man? No, nobody does. Okay, the postie that delivered the mail to me the other day there, I came down the stairs from my house and she said, stop right there. And I'm like, whoa, because she was taking social distancing seriously. So I took a step back off the path and says, you can just lay my mail down on the step there. It's 26 stroke whatever. And she goes, all right, cool. So she was really happy that I took her marginal aggression kind of, not as an insult for it all. Uh,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good that people are starting to take interest. Are you still stuck on your property, Cognac? You've not been out in public, have you?
I have not. It was only one time so far in the last week, and that was just so I can go get the one check I was able to make before this all happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was
That's
like, I
crazy.
definitely, at least I'm going to grab that. I had them envelope it, bag it,
Mm-hmm.
sanitize it, and I brought it. And it was a little soggy, but I was still able to cash it. So that's all that mattered.
That's
And for
okay.
now,
That's
that's all I was worried about is I just wanted to be able to get delivery and stuff like that.
good.
Cool. Even if it has to wait days and whatnot, that was my safety net for right now. So now I'm for right now. I'd say as much as being cooped up is cooped up, you can still step
Hmm.
outside your front door. You just don't
Yeah.
want to you just don't want to venture into the world, but it's still nice to I went on the roof of my RV today and just kind of
Oh.
worked on the top a little bit and just was like, I guess I forgot I do still have stuff to do around the house. Never thought about that.
Mhm. That's crazy.
So,
It's good. I
yeah.
would love to have a flat roof in my building to be able to go and sit out on. But Scotland rains the majority of the time. There's always a constant drizzle or a mist, keeping the air damp. So it wouldn't be nice. But I went out today. I had to go and do something at the gas meter outside the house today. It was the first time I've been outside the house in 2 days. And it was like the air was still. There was a gentle sort of mist coming down. It was like kind of something eerie. I might actually take some photographs and put them up later on just to show you guys. But it was silent. It was like Christmas Eve. That sort of like silent feeling in a city when Christmas Eve descends upon you, and everybody's sort of like cozy in their homes. Well, we're not just cozy in our homes. We're frightened about the bugs coming in through the house now. The silent
Oh,
virus sneaking up on us.
oh God, I thought you were
What
actually
were you
talking about
saying?
spiders. Spiders scare me.
Oh, really? You shouldn't have said that. Now you're
I
going to
am
do
scared of
something
spiders.
tomorrow.
Like
Now
actually,
you're getting a
when it
spider.
comes to this,
There we go.
I have 2 nights ago, I woke
Mhm,
up at 5 a.m., right? Or I guess not 2 nights, but
mhm.
5 a.m. I woke up with something on my arm. I was like, that's probably the cat's tail. I go to brush it off, and then I felt it start crawling up my hand. And as fast as I
Um,
felt that, I jumped up to my feet in my bed, screamed a little bit, and shook my hands. And then I went, yeah, I'm still legitimately still scared of spiders every now and then.
that's crazy. I've got an interesting spider story as well. It was in my days of jazz cigarettes,
Ah,
when my younger brother Ron Swanson and I lived together in a beautiful house. We lived in the attic. We had 2 bedrooms, and the rooms in the attic, they had flat walls instead of sort of like shaped walls like that. So you always had a place like that would run round the edge of the roof, and we called that the coombs. That's the coombs of the building, and there was hundreds of spiders in there. So one particular evening, that I was a bit jazzed out my head. Let's see, I'm lying in my bed going, ah, I love the jazz. The jazz is good. Okay, I'm there and I'm totally relaxed, but I hear this coming down and feel it through the covers of my bed. Something like maybe a roll of quarters in weight landing
uh,
on me. It was heavy.
what?
And I was thinking, what is that? And then I didn't feel it, but you could hear the noise on the covers. Little feet,
Uh,
8 little legs crawling up the duvet towards me. I could feel it go up my thighs and across my chest. So underneath the covers, when it got to my chest, my hand was on my chest there like this, and I went like that and hit through the covers. Okay, and whatever it did, I could hear it hit the wall and then hit the ground, and then just nothing. Never again. I put it down to being the mummy of all spiders in the house. I shit myself, to be honest with you. I don't mind
oh
spiders,
man.
I don't keep killing them, but if that was a beast, I mean, I blame the jazz. I blame the jazz. I think the jazz basically exaggerated the whole feeling of it all. And yeah, long and short of it, never, ever, ever want to meet that spider. I think it's long gone now. And trust me, if it tried to get back onto my bed, it was
Oh,
getting it. It was. But
I'm
yeah, there we
picturing
go.
the
So
genetic offspring of like a caterpillar and a spider mixed together, and that sounds pretty scary in my
a
head.
spider pillar.
Spider pillar.
or
Oh,
a or a, a
ah, uh, hello. Hello. Oh, did mine freeze? Hello? Uh,
We are back. It's come back up. Amazing, 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 amazing. Can you hear me? It's back on. We're back on. I just hope that you guys can hear me. Are you guys still there? Shady, Equilibrium. I'm going to message Cognag and get him to come back. The update's done. It's amazing how much of a moaning mini I am. Hold on, let's send Cognag a wee message and everybody else. Right, okay. Hang on. Oh, it's back up, brother, if you want to come back on. I've just got one. One last update. And now let me. That's funny. Right. Okay, and we will send a wee message to. Yes, it's not coming off. I'm trying to take it off just now. Carmen, 1 second. Hold on. And it is. Hi. Okay. Whew. I couldn't believe that. I was in mid chit chat, and then I swear to God, the internet just dropped out the arse of the router. I mean, the internet is strewn all over my living room floor right now. It's wild. It's there. There it is. There's like Google, there's Amazon, there's a whole bunch of crazy porn. It's wild. It's the internet on my floor because the arse end of it just fell out the router. Don't know why it did that. Okay, I went away and checked my bill. My bill had been paid. It was nothing to do with anything like that. I went away, I checked the router, and it started to have the little green flashy bit of deathy doom, which was kind of frustrating. So, listen, I apologize greatly for that. And we're sorted now. Yeah. I went down and I actually went down on my hands and knees and shouted at the router. I was like, and it looked at me and said, "Oh, okay, well, gonna do the update later." Yes, I'm streaming. You can't do that while I stream. Damn it. So yes, it was quite funny. Okay, so it's just you and me, Carmen, just now. I don't know whether Cognac will come back. I've sent him a message on Instagram, and I need to find Shady's stuff and send an apology to Shady as well to say, hey, I'm sorry that the RSend dropped out of my router. But we're back now. We're back. So the last little segment that I want to do tonight, it was all about basically, it's called the isolation games. So here we go. Now, the isolation games is all about what people are doing while they're in isolation. And one of the crazy things that I found in my research for this on the top 10 is actually yoga. People have taken up a ridiculous amount of yoga, which is not a bad thing. So I started looking around on the internet for different sort of yoga type sort of peoples in schools, and this is not my excuse to put up flexible women on my stream. Boho Beautiful is a YouTube channel. I'm just, if I go down into my private chat, I was clever enough to put the links in there to copy and paste. They have a YouTube channel, and I was kind of impressed with their message on their most up-to-date video with regards to the virus. And I would strongly recommend that anybody goes and has a wee look at this, because it was quite touching. They make their business from, he's back, here's the man, he's there.
What am I looking at there?
And,
Did Moses split the Red Sea again?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to play the introduction to this segment again, just so you think I'm not putting like scantily clad ladies for the sake of it on my stream. Hold on a second, let's take a picture off. Look at your handsome face for a second with your big cheesy grin looking at naked ladies. Okay, and we will play the intro to this stream. Okay, so this segment is called the Isolation Games, all right? And it's all about what people are doing while they're self-isolating. And I discovered that many people are actually taking up yoga. And so I trawled the internet, Cognag, and I went looking for some interesting people. This lady is part of a husband and wife team, or a boyfriend and girlfriend team, that do online yoga classes, and they make their living from like Patreons and YouTube donations and stuff. And they've just basically taken off all their minimum pricing while things go on for it all, and they're doing like hour-long classes on their Patreon and stuff and everything. And I was kind of touched because their latest video in their YouTube channel is all about the mental well-being as we go through this crisis. And do you know something? It kind of touched me, because they're right. Even I'm talking doom and gloom at the start of the stream every time, and it kind of feels a bit grey and negative all the way through. This is one of the reasons why I've tried to inject a bit of colour into it and breaking it up, like have the things which scare us more at the start of the stream, and the things which are a bit more fun towards the end of the stream. And what I've done is I've stuck in the comments these people's what's it called, Mark and Juliana, that's their name. I've put their YouTube link in, and I'm also going to put their Instagram link in as well, because they seem to be such nice people. I mean, maybe they're not, I don't know, but they seem to be genuinely natural people. And I thought, I'm going to go and watch some more of their videos, and I'm going to, because I quite like the idea of doing a bit of yoga in the morning, before my porridge and my whiskey. I think that's important. What do you do for exercise, brother?
I'm actually, originally I like to bike and skateboard. Was my main thing, and then I was just, to be honest, I'm a huge fan of grunt work labor.
Of what?
Grunt work labor style stuff. So like anything that could be done, any task that I need to get done for myself, whether it's around the house or out in the world, or next time that happens, I will do it usually in a manner of fashion that either makes it heavier or makes me feel like I'm actually tensing. For me, gyms weren't ever easy. So I cheat. I found out if you flex all your muscles that you want to get stronger, and you literally hold them flexed while you're doing any type of activity, you can literally you can work out those portions slowly but surely.
That works. That's there was a guy called Charles Atlas that did exactly that, and he called it dynamic tension. And back in the 60s and 70s, in the back of American comic books, like the little ones, the tiny ones, there used to be adverts for get a Charles Atlas body. And I remember
Charles Atlas seal of approval.
Yeah, totally. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
he was the guy that kind of invented what you're talking about. You're kind of using the muscles in both directions to
And
flex them in that sort of sense. It's like it's what do they call it now? They call it sort of like dynamic tension or something. I don't know. It's something where you're pulling the
you're
muscles
you,
in
yeah,
directions.
you're literally you are your own tension
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's.
type of thing.
But you
Yeah.
know that was Charles Atlas that kind of invented that way of exercising, which I find quite cool. So yeah,
That's cool.
yoga is something I'm going to have a wee try of. I think that's quite important. But what else is people doing? I mentioned yesterday that people are baking with their kids. Now look at that.
Oh, that looks like a fun time.
Oh my God, yeah. I can't wait for my kids to come back because we're going to mess the kitchen up just as bad as that. Okay. So I looked around for some interesting things. Now we have a sort of a chocolate thing over here called a Cadbury's cream egg. Now,
Oh, I
people
rarely
in
get to see
Equilibrium
those.
and Ireland will know exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody in the UK
The
will
creamy
also
white
know
center.
exactly what I'm talking about. They are, so yeah, basically they're little eggs and they're filled with fondant cream. Okay, and they only come out like maybe once a year, and the things that they're just delicious. They're ridiculously delicious. And I've got some pictures of a couple of things that you can actually bake on them. 1 second. Let me get back to the pictures. And yeah, so what we have here,
Oh,
look at that. That is a cream egg milkshake in
Cadbury
a little
cream
mason
egg
jar.
milkshake.
I'm going to figure out how to make these. It's in an online recipe book, um, which I don't have the link for because of the stream crashing. But I will find it and stick it up on the Facebook page. But these just look like the most amazing things. I used to make Oreo cookie milkshakes for the kids, which is just
Those are my
packet of Oreos.
favorite.
Oh, they're amazing. They're amazing. Just a packet of Oreos, some milk in a blender, and you're done. They're delicious. But these, I was sitting looking at that. That's like total food porn.
Yeah,
I
there's a pair. It's a perfect pair.
oh,
Like the ball. Oh, I gotta be careful what I
oh.
say. A perfect pair.
Well, you would need some solid food to go with that. Okay. How about this?
Oh,
Cream egg brownies.
Cadbury brownie. I have
Oh,
never even seen Cadbury brownies or Cadbury eggs even used like that. Oh
they're
wow.
amazing. Yeah, no, I've made this before. I've made this many times before. I don't know where I got the idea for it. I wasn't inspired from any internet recipe or any TV show or anything. I just decided that I wanted to have really chocolatey and hyper sweet brownies. And I've the secret to making these and to make it right so they don't melt too much. They will melt, but you want to try and have at least half an egg per piece of brownie. Okay, so I stick the cream eggs in the freezer for about a week before I'm going to make them, and then I have to saw them in half with a bread knife. Zzz, zzz, zzz. So you end up with two halves of the egg. You make the brownie mix, and then you push them down into the brownie mix. So when they cook, it gets gooey all round the cream egg. You let it cool a little bit, then you cut it into the portions. It's kind of heavenly sexy.
I just
Oh,
keep
I'm gonna
staring
make
at
it.
that corner where all that chocolate is literally that is such a nice looking brownie.
Do you know something? If you look at this, drinking this and having this, do you not think that would be the best jazz cigarette munchie fest ever? Just the
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine. Can you imagine the sugar rush? You're jazzed out your head and you're drinking back that, you're munching on that, and you're just happy as Larry. That's wild, wild, and
I
wild. How do
That
I
makes
eat
me
yours?
sad.
How
I
do
want that.
you eat yours? Yeah, Equilibrium's just put up in the comments there. How do you eat yours? Now that's not any sort of dodgy sort of like sexual comment there. That's actually right the advertising campaign for Cadbury's cream eggs, because some people will bite the top off and sit their tongue in it and lick out the actual fondant from it. Some people will just shove the whole
Oh,
egg into their mouths
I have a
and
good quote for
go for it.
that.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit of a mixed bag. There's days where I'll like just want to get my tongue right in there and lick out that fondant, and then there's
See,
times I just want to like put the whole thing in my mouth and go for it, and just
that's why you got to look at your wife, or your girl, just deep in her eyes, right, and go. So if I were a fresh baked brownie, would you throw me down piping hot with a fresh glass of milk now, or would you save me for the fresh treat that I am later?
Cognac, I don't know whether to be slightly disturbed or slightly aroused by that, to be perfectly honest. But I agree
Then you
with
know it'll work.
everything you just said. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It would work. It would work indeed. I just want to apologise to anybody that is watching this back, that we got cut off midstream. It was a bit of a disaster. The router decided to do a midnight update. Obviously, they think that people are not going to be using the internet at this time, but they are wrong, totally wrong. Equilibrium finishes up there saying, "Hi, yeah, sorry, it does sound a bit dodgy, but it was a quote from the ad." I totally agree with you. It does sound dodgy. I thought it was dodgy in the ad. I remember the ad as well. And she says she bites the top off and scoops out the insides with her tongue. I can see you thinking about that, Cognag. Yep, amazing. Yeah, I have to say
You know what
thank
you
you to
did? You did
God.
surprise me. I will say something. The only few times I've gotten to have a Cadbury egg, when I do get a hold of them, I
Mhm.
throw them down, the whole thing in my mouth. I didn't know there's a little orange cream in the middle that looks like a yolk.
Yeah, it's totally true.
So I didn't know that's
It's,
there.
uh,
That's how much of that's I eat those things literally whole. I wish next time I'll actually give that a try. The freezing, the cutting.
yeah, you want to freeze anything that's pre-made with fondant that you're using for baking. Freeze it first every time, without a doubt. You will have such better results because even though it does melt, it holds its shape for about 75% of the cooking time. So you do end up with that egg shape or that round chocolate shape with whatever you want, still maintaining. And
Wait,
that was
that stuff in the middle you said is a fondant?
it's fondant, yeah, fondant icing.
I've I've seen fondant used or fondant icing used to wall something or around cakes. I didn't
Uh-huh.
know it could look that consistency. Or actually, I
Oh yeah.
didn't know that not know that's what I was eating.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. You get the we have this thing called royal icing as well over here, which is the stuff that goes quite hard. But the a fondant icing is, in patisserie terms, is usually quite sort of soft and creamy and delicious.
Americans
Delicious.
don't know
I
how to
want a
make
cream egg
fondant
now.
right then.
I think I've got a cream egg in the freezer still from last year.
Oh, that's gnarly. You know it's still good.
Mm. No, it's I keep a stock because they can only buy them from round about end of January until Easter, and once they're gone. And that's another one of their adverts. Get yours now while you can, but once they're gone, they are gone. But you do also get little bags of cream egg sweeties, and they don't look like eggs; they're just round, sort of like sweeties with the fondant in the middle. I've used those as
What?
well to bake brownies. They're not as good as making them with the eggs, though. The
We
eggs
definitely
just
don't
look
have
so much
those.
better, which is great. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to be streaming live on the morning coffee show. You will be tucked up in your bed,
Morning
young sir,
coffee show.
because it'll be about between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning here, and you're about what time is it where you are just now, Cog?
That'd be 7 hour difference.
Right.
So it'd be like
So
one to two here.
you'll be in your bed. Fast
Uh,
asleep.
that it depends. I might get up to watch your show for sure.
It's going to be my first one. It's not anything going to be super special. It's going to be done purely on YouTube as opposed to Facebook, and it's going to be done on my phone so I can wander around the house doing stuff in a morning routine, and then I'll sit down and read two of the poems. I've already chosen poems that I'm reading tomorrow. Um, One of them, let me just bring them up just now. One of them is all about conflict. In fact, they're both about conflict. I will read the titles to you just now. Um, the first one is called Upon Dealing with Conflict, and the second one is called What I See. And they're both written in the sort of idea that the person having these thoughts and feelings just wants to avoid conflict and how he sees conflict. So that's going to be tomorrow's show. It'll be making coffee, having a chat,
That
and sitting down
I
with
will
the
have to
coffee.
catch now.
You what, sorry?
That I will have to catch now, just to let you know. Even if it's out of a
Cool.
dead sleep, just to watch a little bit. I live I live by that concept.
It's
My
good. These
quote.
are interesting
I
poems.
have a quote
Listen.
for you then. I do have a quote for
Okay.
you then.
Okay.
The winner of a war that never started.
Who
Cognac
said
circa
that?
2017.
Who said that?
That's me.
That was
My quote,
you.
2017.
Wow. You have a depth I never had an idea of the deepness, the depth of Cognac. You know, you're deeper than the Mariana Trench, brother. That's seriously deep. It's the deepest place on earth, but not as deep as you, brother. I swear to God. No, it's don't get up for it, okay? Because if the baby gets up before that, I'll be distracted. Hence why I'm going to be streaming via my phone. You can watch it back on YouTube because I'll
That is
record it
perfect.
into it. So if you sleep through it and I don't have anybody watching, that's cool. I don't mind that. The whole point
I'll do
is
some
just
mad
to
advertising
go out
for
and
you,
have
at
fun.
least before I fall asleep.
Yeah, you fall asleep, man. That's good.
No, I mean,
Listen.
I said I'll do some mad advertising for you before I fall asleep.
Oh
So I
yeah.
can get you some watchers.
Yeah, good. Well, let's say I aim to do the stream at 8 a.m. Between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. is when I'm going to start. That gives it a bit of a window because I'll know I'll wake up about 7 probably. And if the baby's up and has been fed by his mum, then I can go ahead and stream because I'll need my computer to read the poem off because I can't read it and stream from the phone at the same time.
Hmm.
But there you go. So I will look forward to that. Mad advertising would be lovely. It's called Radio Apocalypse Morning Coffee. That's what that show is. I might as well. I'm off for it. I'm off for 12 weeks. I might as well do a morning stream for half an hour as well. Why not? My wife thinks I'm crazy, but that's all cool. I don't mind that. She knows who she married. It's in the contract, you know, but that's how it is. Listen, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Um, I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it greatly. And let me say as well, Shady, if you come back on and watch the rest of this, I apologise that we got cut off in midstream. I'm going to try and find you. I don't know whether I've got you on my Instagram or not. Hopefully, I will. I'll go and check out my brother's little forum thing on Discord to see if you're there as well. But let's thank you for tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow night and back in the morning with the new morning show. And I will look forward to seeing you all then. Any last comments then, brother?
Um, no, I just thank you for having me on your live, man. Literally,
No, you're
it,
always
it means
welcome.
it means a lot to me.
It means a lot to me that you come and do that. It's always nice to have you. It's always nice to have you. And thank you, Equilibrium, as well, for coming on. 12 weeks of poetry and serial killers. Yes, I've got to make content for my serial killer, my true crime channel as well. Equilibrium. I'm going to have to do that. I think I'll start. I've got to write 2 poems every day for the new book, because I've decided that the new poetry book is going to be called Disaster, and it's all about terrible things that have happened to society. It's kind of inspired by what's going on in the world just now, and that's what the next poetry book is going to be all about. So yeah, let's have some fun with
That makes you a satirical rapper.
a satirical rapper. Okay, I like that. I'm going to actually use that. I'm going to have to find a way to actually make a poem called The Satirical Rapper now. That's cool. I like that. Right, we're going to go. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching back, thank you for coming and supporting. And if you are watching back, go and just click on the wee share for me, please, just so other people can see this as well. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Just stay in the back room, Cognag. Don't you go anywhere. We can have an offline chat before I go to sleep tonight. Take care, everybody.